The old man's cane clattered to the floor. Nobody helped him pick it up. Platform 7 at Union Station churned with bodies. Business suits, designer bags. Everyone had somewhere important to be. The 4:47 to Chicago was already 15 minutes late. Tempers flared, voices rose. The veteran bent slowly. His joints screamed. His weathered fingers fumbled for the wooden cane, the same one he'd carved in a VA hospital 30 years ago. Someone's heel caught his knuckles. "Watch it, old man." He looked up. The speaker was gone. Swallowed by the crowd. The train hissed into the station. Doors opened. The mob surged forward. He shuffled toward the nearest car. Each step was agony. The arthritis in his hip had been acting up since the storm rolled through last week. Same hip that caught shrapnel in Da Nang. Same hip the doctors said they couldn't fully repair. A teenager with purple hair shoved past him. "Move it, Grandpa," he stumbled. Caught himself against the train's metal exterior. The surface was cold, unforgiving. Inside, every seat was taken. People looked through him, around him. Never at him. His worn khaki jacket hung loose on his shoulders. Goodwill special, $12. The fabric smelled like mothballs and broken dreams. A small pin was fastened near his heart-tarnished bronze, barely visible among the jacket's wrinkles. "Excuse me." His voice was barely a whisper. "Is there?" "No." A woman in yoga pants didn't even look up from her phone. "Everything's taken." He moved down the aisle. His cane tapped a lonely rhythm on the floor. Tap, tap. A businessman spread his briefcase across the seat beside him. The message was clear. College kids sprawled across 4 seats, backpacks everywhere. Their laughter was sharp, cruel. "Look at this fossil," one muttered. "Probably doesn't even have a ticket." The conductor appeared. Tall, broad shoulders. Authority radiating from his uniform. "Sir," the word carried judgment. "Sir, you need to find a seat or move to the standing area. I'm looking. Look faster. We're behind schedule." Heat crept up the old man's neck. Shame burned in his chest. He'd felt this before. Coming home from Vietnam. The spitting. The names. The hatred in their eyes. History repeating itself. He shuffled toward the back of the car. Standing room only. His legs wouldn't hold him much longer. The pain was getting worse. A mother pulled her child closer as he passed. Like he might contaminate them. The train lurched forward. He gripped a overhead rail. His knuckles went white. That's when she noticed the young woman in seat 23B had been watching. Brown eyes, gentle face. Something about his struggle touched her heart, but it wasn't sympathy that made her stand. It was the pin. She'd seen one before. Her grandfather wore one just like it. Before the Alzheimer's took him, before he forgot his own name, she knew what it meant. "Sir," her voice cut through the car's noise. "Sir, please. Take my seat." Conversation stopped. Heads turned. The old man looked confused. "I couldn't, please." She was already gathering her purse. "I insist." He hobbled toward her. Each step watched by 50 pairs of eyes. The shame was overwhelming. Charity from a stranger, it felt like defeat. "Thank you," he whispered. As he settled into the seat, his jacket shifted. The pin caught the overhead light. Bronze, star-shaped. A ribbon of red, white, and blue. The young woman saw it clearly now. Her breath caught. The businessman across the aisle squinted. His expression changed. The smugness drained from his face. "Jesus," he breathed. The words spread like wildfire through the car. Whispers, gasps, fingers pointing. Not at a homeless old man. At a hero. The bronze star, awarded for heroic or meritorious achievement in a combat zone. One of America's oldest. Military decorations. You don't get one for showing up. The college kid who'd called him a fossil felt sick. His friends stared at their shoes. The woman with the yoga pants looked up from her phone. Really looked at him for the first time. Saw the scars on his hands, the careful way he held his left shoulder, the 1,000-yard stare that never fully goes away. The conductor returned. His swagger was gone. "Sir." The word held different weight now. "Sir, is there anything I can get you? Coffee? Water?" The old man shook his head. He was used to invisibility. This attention felt strange. "That your bronze star?" The businessman asked quietly. A nod. "Where'd you serve?" "Vietnam." The word hung in the air, heavy with memory. 1968 to 1970. The car went silent. Even the train's rhythmic clacking seemed muted. The bloodiest year of the war. Tet offensive. "Khe San, my lay hell on earth." The young woman who'd given up her seat was still standing in the aisle, tears in her eyes. Her grandfather had been there too. Same years. Same nightmare. He'd never talked about it. Now she understood why. "What unit?" The businessman's voice was reverent. "First Infantry, big red one." Recognition flickered across several faces. The big red one had seen some of the war's worst fighting. Their casualty rate was staggering. "We lost a lot of good men," the old man said simply. The understatement of the century. A teenager near the front stood up. "Sir, you can have my seat too, in case your friend needs one." He was looking at the young woman, the one who'd started it all. Others began standing, offering seats, offering respect. The old man's eyes filled with tears. For 50 years he'd carried the weight of that war alone. The guilt of surviving when others didn't. The pain of being forgotten by a country that wanted to forget. Today felt different. "Thank you," he said. "All of you." But there was more to his story. More than the medal showed. The businessman, emboldened by the moment, asked the question everyone was thinking. "How'd you earn it?" The old man's hands trembled, not from age, from memory. April 12, 1969. Firebase Charlie. His voice grew distant, like he was seeing it all again. "We were overrun. 300 NVA regulars, maybe more." The car was dead silent now. Even the children sensed the gravity. "I was point man on patrol that morning, saw them coming. Could have run, should have run." He paused, swallowed hard. "Instead I radioed our position. Stayed put. Kept calling in their movements until our boys could get ready." "That's not all, is it?" The businessman's voice was barely audible. The old man shook his head. "When they hit us, my squad leader took one in the chest. Danny Morrison, kid from Ohio, 19 years old." His voice cracked. "I carried him 3 clicks through enemy fire. Never put him down. Not once. The math was brutal. 3 kilometers. Under fire. Carrying a wounded man. Superhuman strength born of desperation." "Did he make it?" Someone whispered. A long pause. "He made it home. Married his high school sweetheart. Had 3 kids. Relief flooded the car. He died last winter. Cancer." The silence returned, heavier now. "Funeral was beautiful," the old man continued. "His whole family there. Grandkids, great-grandkids." He looked out the window. Fields blurred past. "His oldest boy found me after the service. Told me Danny talked about that day until the end. Said I saved his life." A woman in the back row was crying openly now. "Said Danny wanted me to know something. Wanted me to know that everything good in their family, the marriage, the kids, the grandkids, it all happened because I didn't leave them behind." The weight of that hit everyone. One act of courage. One decision to stay. An entire family tree that existed because of it. The young woman who'd given up her seat found her voice. "My grandfather served too, Vietnam. He never talked about it much." She paused, gathered courage. "But he used to tell me about men like you. Said there were heroes over there that nobody would ever know about. Said they came home and just blended back into normal life." She looked around the car. "Said they were walking among us every day. At grocery stores, On buses, on trains. Her voice strengthened. Said we should treat everyone with kindness because you never know what battles they've fought. The old man smiled. First real smile in years. Your grandfather sounds like a wise man. He was. The train was slowing now. Next stop Chicago. Journey's end for most passengers. But something had changed in that car. Something profound. The businessman reached into his wallet. Pulled out a business card. I run a construction company, he said. We're always looking for good supervisors. Guys who know how to lead. He held out the card. Pays good. Benefits too. What do you say? The old man stared at the card. It had been years since anyone offered him work. Real work, not charity. I'm 73, he said. So? You carried a man 3 kilometers under fire. Pretty sure you can handle a construction site. Laughter rippled through the car. Good laughter. Warm laughter. The college kids approached, the ones who'd called him names. Sir, the leader spoke, we're really sorry about before. We were jerks. The old man studied their faces. Saw genuine remorse. We all make mistakes, son. What matters is learning from them. The kid nodded, tears in his eyes. Thank you for your service. The words he'd waited 50 years to hear. The train pulled into Union Station, Chicago. Doors opened. People began filing out, but nobody rushed this time. They waited. Let the old man go first. He stood slowly, gathered his things. The Bronze Star caught the light one more time. As he walked down the aisle. Something remarkable happened. People stood. One by one, row by row. A standing ovation on a Tuesday afternoon train. For a man they'd ignored an hour before. For a hero they'd almost missed. The young woman walked beside him onto the platform. Thank you, she said, for everything you've done. Everything you've sacrificed. He stopped, looked at her. Thank you for seeing me. 4 simple words. But they carried the weight of decades. They parted ways on the platform. She to her life. He to his, but both were changed. Later that evening, the businessman called his father. A Vietnam vet who rarely talked about the war. Dad, he said. I met someone today I think you'd like to know about. The young woman went home and called the VA. Asked about volunteer opportunities. Ways to help forgotten veterans. The college kid changed his major. Pre-law to social work. Wanted to help people who'd been overlooked. Ripples in a pond. All because one person chose to see past the surface. All because one man carried more than just a medal. He carried the weight of sacrifice. The burden of survival. The quiet dignity of service. And finally, for one shining moment on a crowded train, he was seen. Not as a charity case or a relic, but as what he'd always been. Hero. Walking among us. Waiting to be recognized. The medal didn't make him special. His actions did. The medal just helped the rest of us remember what we'd forgotten, that heroes don't always wear capes. Sometimes they wear worn khaki jackets and carry wooden canes. Sometimes they sit quietly in the back of trains. Sometimes they're invisible until someone chooses to see. And when we finally do see them, really see them, we remember something important about ourselves. We remember that kindness matters, that service deserves recognition, that every person carries stories we can't imagine, that dignity isn't earned by success or status. It's earned by how we treat others when nobody's watching. Old veteran made it home that night, to his small apartment. His TV dinner, his memories, but something was different. For the first time in years, he wasn't carrying the burden alone. Somewhere in Chicago, strangers were thinking about him, caring about him. Changed by meeting him. And that made all the difference. The Bronze Star sat on his dresser that night. Same as always, but it seemed to shine a little brighter, like it knew its story had finally been told, like it knew its bearer had finally been seen. Not as the man the world forgot, but as the man he'd always Then a hero. Just waiting for someone to notice. Every day, heroes walk among us. Veterans who served with honor. Teachers who change lives. Parents who sacrifice everything. Neighbors who help without being asked. They don't wear their medals on their sleeves. They don't demand recognition. They just serve. And hope that someday, someone will see. Today, choose to see. Choose to recognize the quiet heroes in your midst. Choose kindness, because you never know whose day you might change. You never know whose burden you might help carry. You never know whose story deserves to be told. The person sitting next to you might be a hero. All they're waiting for is someone to notice.